Hello, we're going to make cloth surgical face masks today. You will need some cotton fabric, two different colours, one for the outside and one for the inside. I've used white for the inside. And then I am also using a fleece lining to go in between the two layers of cotton for extra protection. I've got my pattern from the Huff Post and I will be putting a link below. That is a finished mask that you're looking at there. You will need elastic or ties, depending on your preference, to do it up. There are two pieces to this pattern, A and B. You can use a normal sewing machine or you can use an overlocker. You'll need some wire, which you can use some gardening wire or a paper clip, which needs to be 3 inches long to shape round the nose. And you need 6.5-inch pieces of elastic to go around the ears. 6.5 inches for each side. It's best to try and cut out your fabric in batches of a 12 or 10 so that you can just get through as many as possible. Put your right sides together and follow the curved edge. I'm using the overlocker because it's faster. And then you can continue just passing each pair of bits of fabric through at a time. You don't have to keep cutting it. I am now overlocking or zigzagging the straight side, which will be the opening. I'm just doing a continuous pieces of fabric feeding through the machine. And now I'm going to put the right sides together, pinning it at the seams. And getting it in line. And machining those two pieces of fabric together. At the top, this is the top going around the nose. And at the bottom. Just joining up the seams there before I start machining. When you've done that, you will need your 3-inch piece of wire. Again, do lots of cut up pieces before you start so that you've got a little pot of them. And you need to feed the wire into the zigzagging or your overstitching across the bridge of the nose. Then you turn the mask inside onto the right side, pushing up the wire over the nose. And then you're going to fold over the longer edges. I find it much easier to do this by pressing those over. And then you're going to put your elastic through those folded over ends, or if you prefer, you're going to feed your ties. You're next going, after you've pressed that flap, you're going to stitch it down, leave a nice wide gap, wide as possible, so that you can feed a safety pin down there with your elastic or your ribbon. Cut off the ends. And 6.5 inches of elastic per side. Or 13 cut in half. Just finding a safety pin there to thread it through. And then you can pin the bits of elastic together. You can hand stitch it or just pop it onto the sewing machine. Remember, if you are zigzagging on your machine, you need to turn it to the straight stitch for when you're folding down the side bits each time. Now I've just cut round the shape roughly to find a third piece of fabric to put in there, something thick like fleece or something closely woven. You can use a Hoover bag to act as an extra filter, because the 2 pieces of cotton aren't really enough, so you do need another a third piece of fabric. And there you have your mask.